It's interesting because at one point in the campaign, the New York Times got a hold of Donald Trump's taxes, which, by the way, they obtained illegally, and they published the information. Is there any difference between, you are not going to reveal your source, but nobody has said what you released is not true. They went forward with the story on his taxes. Is there any difference?
There is a difference, which is our material is better presented, less intermediation. The public responded to it more than the New York Times. But the editor of the New York Times, he has come out and said that he would do the same thing as Wikileaks. If they had obtained that information, they would publish it. Now, unfortunately, I don't believe that is true. I believe they would selectively maybe publish just a bit here and a bit there. They would not have done what we did, which is present the American public everything that we knew. Can you just imagine that if WikiLeaks had information about Debbie Wasserman Schultz helping to rig the primary with Bernie Sanders, and we withheld that information until after the election? That would be an absolutely unconscionable act for a media organization to engage in. Unfortunately, those sorts of acts do happen, but not with this organization.
You know, in 2015, the Chinese stole millions of personal documents, classified information on individuals who were seeing it and working for our government, et cetera. So if they don't say anything about China and they selectively choose this, is it to delegitimize Donald Trump? What's your interpretation of that?
It's exactly what it's designed to do. If you look at what the allegations are, they don't mention WikiLeaks for the 29th. They don't mention our publications. Our publications had wide uptake by the American people. They are all true. But that's not the allegation that is being presented by the Obama White House. So why such a dramatic response? Well, the reason is obvious. They're trying to delegitimize Trump administration as it goes into the White House. They are trying to say that President-elect Trump is not a legitimate
legitimately elected president.
Not legitimately elected.
If your information...
you watch, they will seize on this and harp on it for the next 4 years. I think that's a mistake. I think that's a mistake not just in fact, that's a mistake for the US Democratic Party. I think it's a stupid maneuver. It's the same reason why they lost the election, which is instead of focusing on substance, they focus on other things which they think are short-term wins, but are not strategic. A little comment by Trump here and there, for example, or this attempt to say that how outrageous it is that the American public receive true information before an election. That the public doesn't buy that. They want as much true information as possible.
If the information you had was about Donald Trump and his campaign, would you have equally released that?
Yes, absolutely. It would be, once again, just think about it from our perspective. We've won a lot of media awards. We have the trust of our sources. We have the trust of our readers, having never got it wrong.
Well, this is an important point. 10 years, not one evidence where you've been proven wrong.
Well, not even one sustained allegation, even. We have a perfect record in relation to authenticating the material that we publish. That's a very valuable reputation to have, and we try and preserve it. So what else do we have a record for? There's no sources coming out through other journalists, say for example, they can still keep their anonymity. There's no sources coming out and saying, we gave WikiLeaks all this information about Donald Trump or President Xi or Vladimir Putin, and you know what? They didn't publish it.
I know you.
No one has come out and said that. If they did, that would hurt our reputation for trust for our sources.
I know you want to protect your sources, and when you first told me on my radio show that it was not Russia, you said so reluctantly. Can I ask, take it one step further? Can you say that the source was within the United States?
I don't want to constrain whether it was someone inside the United States, in the DNC, in the service providers that provide for the DNC, or outside, etc. I think we have already pushed it quite a lot.
More than you would like.
More than we would like, by saying it's not a state party. That was necessary to do because there was a serious attempt to distract from the content of our publications with this Russian narrative. Now, our sources are interested in two things. They're interested in protecting their identity, but also not going through all that effort and risk to themselves only to have the publication undermined.
Then what do you make of the President of the United States, and Donald Trump may, in the next 24 to 48 hours, contradict with whatever information he's teasing that he does have, but he made a decision to expel 35 Russian diplomats in 2 sites, impose 12 sanctions against the Russian government, and the Russian President Putin responded by inviting children to a Christmas party and said he will wait to deal with the new president. Why would the president, you're saying that Russia did not give you this information. He is very closely suggesting that, in fact, they did. And he's wrong. So my question is, does he know he's wrong? From your perspective, he has to know.
He's playing games.
He's playing games.
He's playing games.
He's dishonest. Fair? Is he lying to the American people?
He's acting like a lawyer instead of being honest. So he's playing games by trying to suggest that Russia, quote, hacked the election, unquote. Pretending that what's going on here is Russia hacking voting machines, for which there is no evidence, then suggesting without saying that our information was part of a plot to get Donald Trump elected. Once again, from our side, which we understand there's no evidence, but even James Clapper and so on coming out and saying, we don't know how WikiLeaks, we don't know when or how WikiLeaks got this information. So it's a construction to try and erect the topic that Donald Trump is illegitimately elected.
More of my exclusive. So asked him specifically about the FBI and DHS report on 2016 and the election hacking. Let's take a look. The FBI, Department of Homeland Security, this goes to the 29th of December this past year, released a joint report detailing how federal investigations and investigators linked the Russian government to the hacks of the Democratic Party organization. And they gave a 13-page memo. I'm sure you've read it.
I have read it in detail.
At this point, okay. Supposedly they give technical details regarding tools and some of the infrastructure of the Russian civilian and military intelligence, but they don't give any proof positive.
They give five-page description of some of the tools that they allege that the Russian state uses. The rest is just fairly boring security recommendations. On the top, there is a disclaimer saying nothing.
I was going to ask you about that.
Guarantee that any of this information is accurate.
Right. It's a guess.
So if you, it's just you'll look in the. I used to be a computer security expert. That was my job. This is a bad report, and you look in the rest of the computer security community, you'll see dozens of other computer security experts in the United States, absolutely not affiliated with Russia.
Isn't it contradicted, though, by our own Director of Intelligence, National Intelligence?
James Clapper.
That's James Clapper.
There's nothing in that report that says that any information was given to us. Nothing. What they have is what they call indicators. So like a way to recognize if these tools, these alleged Russian tools, have been used on your system. Mm-hmm. Okay. So in response to that, some engineer at one of the US electricity companies found this signature on one of their laptops. Okay, so then this was analyzed by a wide range of US computer security experts. I've read those reports in detail. And it's discovered this is a commercially available tool produced by Ukraine. So it's straight out of the bat, we either have a deliberate attempt to mislead or thoroughly incompetent work, straight out of the bat. So that story about the laptop at the power generation center, that was picked up by the Washington Post and the administration, pushed everywhere, that here's the Russians infiltrating the electricity grid, and it was completely bogus.
That was bogus. But there's another side of this which is, I think, pretty fascinating, and that is that Hillary Rodham Clinton had a private server at a mom and pop shop in a bathroom closet that I would argue, and other lawyers would make arguments that it was illegal for her to have. From what we understand, the Podesta emails were hacked through a phishing scheme where it said, click on this, give us your information, and he did so. So we made it.
Well, there's a number of hacks of the DNC and Podesta based on the publicly available information. This is not something coming from our sources. We published, as part of our policy of full disclosure, not interfering with the material, we published the several Podesta emails, which shows Podesta responding to a phishing email. Now, how did they respond? Podesta gave out that his password was the word password. His own staff said, this email that you've received, this is totally legitimate. So this is something a 14-year-old kid could have hacked
based on that.
Podesta that way. In relation to computer security and Hillary Clinton's security, those Secretary of State emails